Well, hello everybody. Welcome to the video. My name is Brian, and today I want to do kind of a PSA. I've not heard this one discussed before, but I have come across this issue so many times when I am teaching personal finance one-on-one, and that is kids today, when I say kids, I mean 25 and under, are financially illiterate, personally financially illiterate. So my PSA is please start teaching personal finance at home because they're not learning it at school. And unless you teach them, they're not learning it. Now, here's a couple of things that I have noticed. And we're going to get into the specifics in a minute, but as a general rule, most of them are personally financially illiterate. They have no clue of what's going on around them. Most of them don't care. They don't want to know about personal finance, which is scary. And the ones that might, they're just too lazy to care. They don't want to take the effort to learn. And here's the sad news. Most of them don't know that they don't know. Unbelievable. I had several, I'm going to refer to one. When I started talking to this young man, he was 21 years old. 21. Never wrote a check, didn't know how to fill one out, never balanced his bank statement because he didn't know how. I asked him, I said, so when you go to the store to use your debit card, which I hate, by the way, I said, how do you determine if you've got the money to spend? He says, well, I look at my balance on my phone, and if it's there, I spend it. Really? That's how you do your finances? If it's in the bank, you can spend it? Wow. He had no idea of how credit cards worked. He had a car loan, and he knew he had to make that payment, but his credit rating was like in the 500s. He didn't know he was supposed to make them on time. He didn't know how much to pay. It was unbelievable. And he's not the exception. He's the rule. So, what to teach? Well, to begin with, just like everything you teach kids, it needs to be age appropriate. You know, most kids would start out with an allowance. You got to teach them that you got to work to get your money. That's where millennials went wrong with Gen Z. I'm sure most of them thought, well, I'm not going to pay them an allowance. I'll just give them the money. Yeah, that's what happens. But it needs to be age appropriate. Now, as they get older and their allowance gets bigger, that's when you start talking about taxes. So if they get a $10 a week allowance, you give them $9, and you say you have to give Uncle Sam his. And then you should teach them about tithing. Finance in God's kingdom is more important, or at least as important, as finance in this kingdom. So they need to learn about tithing. The next thing they need to learn about is savings. They need to learn the concept of saving money for a goal. A toy they want. A bike they want. They need to learn the concept of savings. They also need to learn the concept of investing. Now this is probably a little older person, but they need to learn the concept of investing. And they need to learn and understand about loans. The problem with a lot of college kids right now, as they go to college or are in college, they don't understand what they're signing up for. My daughter called me the other day and said she needed some money, and she went to the office to see if there was anything she could do, and they said, go get a personal loan. So 99 out of 100 kids are going over to the bank signing up for a personal loan because they need the money. Never mind that they'll be in debt for the next 100 years. Anyway, I'm on a rant. But they need to learn about loans and the consequences of loans. And I'll tell you how my dad did this with me. When I was in high school, I bought a car. Actually, my dad bought the car. And I had a weekend job of washing dishes at a restaurant. So he got one of those little pocket spirograph note things, and I went through and I wrote down once a month, for as long as it took, I paid $25 a month for that car. And I had to give him the money and the book, and he would sign off on it. And I did that till that car was paid. Took for freaking ever, but I learned about loans. They need to learn about interest. 99 out of 100 people, when they go to buy a car, don't ask about the interest, they ask about the monthly payment. That's the wrong question. Get the right interest and the monthly payment doesn't matter. They need to learn about their credit score. What does it consist of? How do you get it? And I'll tell you another thing. In addition to personal finance, it's very, very important that they learn the difference between needs and wants. And if you're having trouble doing that and making them understand, go online and Google lifestyle in mainland China and show the videos. Because when they come to you and say, well, I need these Nike Airs, do you? Let's go see what the people in China are wearing. Yeah, they're barefoot. So in this country, shoes are probably a necessity, but not Nike Airs. Needs and wants. And that's an important one because that will guide them for the rest of their life. And the last one that I want to hit on here is credit cards. Every person under the age of 25 that I have talked to, they all say the same thing. I'm not getting credit cards because they charge me interest. And I say, well, how do you pay your bills? Debit card, no interest. Absolutely clueless about how credit cards work. Somebody needs to teach them. And if you don't know how, then learn. And if you're not willing to put in the effort, show them my videos. I've got 340 some videos on there about personal finance. And they're all age appropriate for kids. Let them go in there and watch. But please stop raising financially illiterate people. And I'm going to make one little thing here before I get off of here. There is a reason they don't teach personal finance in school. Did you know that? Because if you're financially literate, you will understand what the government is doing with our economy and what they're doing with our taxes. One of the biggest things that the federal government has convinced the younger generations of is that the government spends the government's money. The government spends our money. Our money. So when we elect people, we need to understand what they're doing with our money. So, the PSA, please start teaching personal finance to your kids, no matter what their age. Because I can tell you from experience, This generation is personal finance illiterate. Let's change that. You guys have a great day, a great week, and happy personal finance investing.